Welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at Wealth Creation Investing. Matthew Buckley, the Chief Investment Strategist here at WCI. And the biggest issues on our radar this week, obviously, earnings. About a quarter of S&P 500 companies are reporting earnings this week. Little company from Cupertino, California, reporting earnings today. Apple, obviously, all eyes are going to be on how Apple does, but also the rest of how the S&P fares and obviously the Dow components. But more on the S&P. Again, as we've talked about, maybe 60% are falling in line. Some misses, some beats, but we all know the Wall Street game of the inline or the beats. If you can't hit the ball over the net, we simply lower the net. So corporate profits might look pretty solid, but at the end of the day, we know by looking at macroeconomic data that they're squeezing the most out of their employees. Our average hourly wages are going down, if not stagnant. So corporate America, you can say we're chugging along here, but obviously some pretty significant bumps in the road. One of the main ones, obviously, being this whole Obamacare train wreck, and it was just pretty interesting seeing the Sunday talk shows and watching how 2-3 weeks ago not a single Democrat would blink and give in to the evil Republicans about their demands to reform anything with Obamacare, and everybody went to the brink of Armageddon here. And now that the Republicans blinked, now we have these Democrats who are up for re-election this year recognizing that Obamacare is an absolute train wreck. The rollout's a failure. The individual mandate, they're going to start fining people for not being able to sign up when you can't sign up. There's the government for you. So even now the Democrats are starting to crack now that the brinksmanship's over. So, but that's another reason why corporate America is creeped out, just because of what's going on in Washington, the just stifling regulatory environment, taxes, Obamacare, you name it. And that's also why they're sitting on their hands and not hiring. So the biggest things on our radar, as I said, earnings. But just as important, we have a 2-day Fed meeting coming up, and there's some international events I'll be taking a look at as well. We have a Bank of Japan meeting, and Governor Kuroda and Prime Minister Abe with his Abenomics, maybe get a sense of how they're doing, and some other data coming out around the world that I'll be taking a look at, but mainly focused here in the United States. We have a 2-day Fed meeting. Now, for a while there, we were talking about a potential Octaper. The Fed had the opportunity back in June when the entire market expected them to taper, and they didn't. So, first of all, that's bad news, right? When the drunks in the bar see the sun coming up and say, wow, we got to get out of here, and the bartender closing the blinds saying, no, don't worry about it. Here's some more liquidity for you. That's bad. But it's also bad because that means the Fed's looking at numbers that we're looking at as well and saying, we can't go anywhere anytime soon. And as we talked about, there's no plan B. The Fed can only keep what it's doing or increase what it's doing. They think that if they stop what they're doing, we're going to implode, which is never a good sign. So this economy really has to heal on its own, and it's not going to do it under the current administration and their policies, period. So we'll move, as you can see on the S&P 500 here, we'll melt up. We're going to keep on melting up. I might sound like Perma-Bear, and the world's going to end tomorrow, and it pretty much should if the Fed and central banks around the world weren't interfering with capitalism, but it's not because they are. So you can't fight the Fed and you can't fight the tape. So I just put out a bull put spread to my primary trade alert traders over at Top Gun Options on the S&P at the November, because we're going to melt up. You can't fight $85 billion a month, and hell, instead of an Octaper this week, the Fed might even come out with a surprise, hey, we're adding some money to it. They surprised us last time, so you never know. Really nothing on the radar today here in the United States. We have some pending home sales at 10 Tuesday. Core retail sales, and whenever you see the word core, it means X something. So tomorrow would be X autos. So we'll see how the retailers are doing. Some inflation data with PPI. Then retail sales. That'll be an interesting number. See how the consumers are faring. I almost said failing, and that would have been funny because it's a Freudian slip. The S&P Case-Shiller 20 City Composite Index, see some of the housing, and then the Conference Board's consumer confidence number. That's a potential market-moving number I'll be looking at. Business Christmas inventories as well. Wednesday, ADP non-farm payroll. Remember, because of the government shutdown and the weirdness, well, who cares about what ADP has to say this week? We already got the unemployment rate last week. Some more inflation numbers tomorrow. That FOMC statement. Hey, the federal funds rate. I wonder what that's going to be. Talk to somebody at a cocktail party who has no idea what they're talking about and say, hey, let's bet on what the federal funds rate is going to be. See if you can earn some cheap money. But we'll be looking at across the sea on Thursday, across the pond over to Europe. A lot of numbers coming out of Europe this week to see the strength of the European economy and see if their Ben Bernanke, Mario Draghi has to come out and say anything to calm the markets. Chicago PMI, so taking a look at Midwest manufacturing, employment, economic conditions. And then Friday, we'll see some manufacturing PMI. That's a potential market moving number, along with ISMs, Institute Supply Management, manufacturing PMI, and prices, and maybe even a total vehicle sales. Remember, total vehicle sales were going through the roof for the past couple months. I think we might see vehicle sales cooling off here. So kind of a big week with earnings and the Fed. But again, since there's nothing really ginormous going on in the market, except Israel thinks Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon here in a couple weeks and might attack them. Other than that, Ms. Lincoln, how's the play? So as Israel rushes towards Iran's got a bomb and we're probably going to attack them, the Obama administration wants to sit down at the table and have some coffee with them and talk. So again, as my Top Gun options traders know, the market only cares when we care about something like that. And you better start caring, because if one day you wake up and on Fox News you see Israeli F-16s and Strike Eagles landing, the futures will be down about 1,000 points and the VIX will be up at 50. And we'll be ready for that because we have those type of trades on. Okay, got to run. Got to get ready for our weekly options live trade brief over at Top Gun Options. If you want to get into some of our live trade briefing services, give our 888 number a call or email us at customer support, and you can set up a trader evaluation with one of our mentors who can find one of the right live trading services for you here at Wealth Creation Investing or at Top Gun Options. Okay, happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. Have a great week, and check over at topgunoptions.com for our sit rep tomorrow morning. We'll see you.